Hello and welcome to Scalemodeling, and welcome to part 8 of our Tamiya Tyrrell P34 6-wheeler 1/12 scale build. So if you haven't been here before, please go to the playlist and you can watch this right from the beginning of part 1. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Don't forget hit that little bell that lets you get notifications of every time video comes out. That's all you'll get, and I have about a video once a week, so you're not going to get flooded with notifications. And yeah, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, and your comments are welcome. So let's get on to where we're at. So in the last video, we finished up step 26, which was installing these shock absorbers. You can see them there, and also these disc brakes and surrounds all went on. So went really good. Hey, looking fantastic. So now we're going straight on to step 27, which is an exciting part where we're going to connect all of this onto the back of the car. But to do that first, we need to paint support. I'll put number 27 up in the corner for a start. So you can see those pieces that we need to do. Here they are here. I'm about to go and paint them up in gloss black. Then when they're done, we can grab our car, which is over here. I'll bring it across. There it is, looking pretty cool. Where we'll actually be putting this onto the back of there. How about, look at that, it's moving on its own. And the engine's not even connected yet. That's all right. There we go. So yeah, this is going onto there. Big move. So, all right, without further ado, I'll go paint these and we'll come back and we'll do just that. Back shortly. Okay, welcome back. So here's an awkward part where I wish I had twice as many fingers and 2 more hands, because going by the instructions up there in the corner, step 27, we need to get this onto here. Now what I've done is I've connected these pieces on. Right, so we've got the 2 longer ones at the top, and then the slightly shorter ones go connect at the bottom there, and they run actually through the exhaust system. See, and they come out. There's one in there. Move that across a bit. You can see they actually go right through the center of the exhaust there. So one's connecting there. Here's the other one here. Now, there are points on the roll bar where they connect there, and the same on this side. But the trick is we've got to make sure we can get those 2 there, those notches, need to go over those 2 notches. I'll link this up a bit. They sit over those 2. When that sits down, these 2 points here on the rocket valve covers go into the holes on the bar there and there, right? At the same time, connecting those on here and here. Yeah, and then of course this has to be kept up out of the way because it's going to run down the center of the engine between the carburetors there. And then there's another hose that runs through the back here and needs to sit in there because it's one of the radiator hoses, I think. Although that's an oil filter, so I guess that goes to an oil cooler. I'm not sure. I'm fairly sure it goes down there. So yeah, pretty complicated. Now to help me do this, what I'm going to do is I've got some bit of oil, and I'm going to slowly with a brush just touch some oil in there just so everything slides in easy. These clip in place easy. I don't want them to break, and I know that these are a tight fit, so I'll just put a little bit of oil over them so they'll slide on. And it's all very tight tolerances because I know that putting this in here and slipping that over those notches like this sort of, and then pushing it up and then lining these 2 to go into there, it's going to be very, very tight. And then somehow we've got to get these connected on as well. So you can see what I mean. So this is all going to happen off camera because it's going to take me a bit of fiddling around to do. And hopefully when we come back, it'll all be attached. As far as I can tell, Nothing needs to be glued here. These don't get glued on, these connectors. I think it'll be tight once it is in, that I can then reach through there, probably get underneath from underneath and touch those to glue that. But we'll see how that goes. I just want to get it on first. All right, so wish me luck. I'll be back in a second for you guys. This could take me a bit longer. All right, back soon. Okay, good news. It went on easier than I expected, but it helped having this lubricant. Okay, so this is just some lubricant oil. It's actually from my razor. So what I did was just put a bit on a brush and went across those little points where those arms were going to connect on, and they just slipped on perfectly. And same with the notches down on the bottom of the chassis there. I just put a bit across that and they slipped. Again, the engine mount went straight down on top of it beautifully. Nothing needed to be glued in place. It's all in there, it's all tight, and that's it. I might touch some glue in there, but I don't think it's going to be required. I could go underneath and do a bit, but yeah. So there it is, done. That looked come up really well. It's all gone. The hoses, there's one that goes through the exhaust system here on this side and up into the bottom of this. That looks like where the oil will go through, I'm assuming. Could even be a fuel cap, I'm not sure. But either way, it plugs up in that. It's easy, just with a pair of tweezers, just reach in there and glide it up, pop it on there, and then just touch it with some CA glue so it doesn't slip back off. This one here, it's a bit of a tight bend down there, so you need to CA glue that on, and then this will eventually just run across here. I think it goes into an oil cooler radiator towards the rear somewhere here, but it definitely runs across like this. So there we go, fantastic. All right, this can go aside for a while now, because now we're going to start on the on a couple of radiators, it looks like, on step 28. Okay, so let me get organized here and we'll be back and have a look what we've got to do. Back shortly. Okay, so moving on to step 28, which is the right then left radiator. All our parts are here. It's mainly these four here. These pieces here will be used. There's some really nice photo etch to go on this as well. There's our photo etch. So I think it's these here go on, and possibly these two pieces as well. They'll get attached onto the radiator. So very good. So and everything, as far as I can tell, is all painted gloss black. Now I might do it the gloss black, or I might do it the same black I did the exhaust pipe. We'll see how we go. See what's going to look better. But in the meantime, I'll get all these parts off that we need, and I will be probably, so I don't get things mixed up, we'll completely do one radiator. We'll do the right-hand one, and then because the left hand is exactly the same, we won't need to videotape any of that. But once I get the the right one all done, I can just whip the other one together. All right, so let me get all the parts off for our right-hand side radiator, including the photo etch, and yeah, make a start. All right, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so there's our radiator parts. I've glued this together already. It's quite simple. Just glued that down, glued that down, two halves together, done. Now the photo etch is very flimsy. Give you an idea. Just this. Yeah, got to be very, very careful with that. So basically just cut them off as close as you can to the metal. Try not to have any nubs left, because it would almost be, well, it would be impossible to sand them because there's such thin strips there. So we've got this one will just sit on there. I've already test fit it, sits on there perfectly, and the two triangle pieces will go on the bottom there. Now I was going to paint this first, then put that on, but now I'm thinking I'm going to put the photo etch on first. I'll use my where is it? My MIG Ammo clear glue, which I've got some of it already mixed, so it's quite watery. I'll just paintbrush that very lightly down maybe just round each end. I don't think it needs all the way around, because this stuff dries completely clear and very solidly, so it's not going to come off. And then after that, I'll undercoat it all black and then do it in the gloss black, or the other black that I haven't decided yet. And these two are the little rubber mounts that will sit on the back of the radiator here. Okay, and this is just the right hand side, so once I've finished this part, I'll do the other one off site, and then we can move on, because that'll be the end of step 28. But we'll come back and we'll have a look at this, how it looks primed up first with the photo etch on, and then I'll come back with the base coat and we'll have a look. Okay, back in a sec. Hey, welcome back everybody. So there's our radiators. I've just popped the rubber mounts on there. So that's our left one and that's our right one. Okay, just going by the instructions. They come up really nice. I ended up using the same paint I used on the exhaust, that military black, and it's come up really good. So with that, so that's step 28, and that's the radiators done. So now we'll turn over the page and I'll pop the instructions up in the corner there. 2 oil coolers to do. Looks like there's again photo etch plastic pieces going together much the same, but though I think they're a little bit smaller, and there's a bracket there, E43, and a couple of hose connectors that look quite cool. That bracket's going to be painted, and by that it's going to be aluminium. That's going to look good, while everything else is black, same black as that. Although I see those hose connectors there on the left radiator, and the right one for that matter, they're going to be chrome silver, so they'll stand out a little bit more as well. Okay, so once again, I'll go and whack those together, and if there's anything that comes up during the process, I'll stop and we'll take a look. Otherwise, we'll go through to the finished product. It's pretty much the same as what we got here, but they're actually oil coolers. Okay, I'll get on with that and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so here we are going with the oil coolers. I just thought I'd show you here. These connectors where the hoses go, I've just done blue, same blue that the car's going to be. I thought that'd be a nice touch there, just to make them blend in nicely. I've just painted those up, and yeah, they've come up really good. Again, in the same black that I used on the radiators. I'm just waiting for them to dry, then I can attach all this, and they'll be done. So I'll come back when they're all attached and we'll have a look at them, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, so there's our left and right oil coolers done. Our brackets come up nice. Got the new nice bit of blue on the connectors for the hoses. There they are. All right, it's quite a lot to it, as you can see, and it's basically fitting these onto the car. There's some hose we've got to cut, some tubing, and for the oil coolers and the radiators. And there's a couple of parts to paint. We've got some silver, some chrome bits, I think there is there. Yeah, chrome silver and some aluminium bits. I'll get those pieces off and all the parts we need for putting all this together, and we'll make a start on it. Okay, back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. So here's all our parts we need for step 30. We've got all our tubing here ready to go. These parts here, even though they don't look like much, there's a lot of cleanup to do. We've got, you can see there's like a seam lines, I guess you'd call it, down the length of that. Lots on here that need to be all sanded. So they need to be cleaned up as well. These are all, looks like supports. These parts here, I don't know why they're actually black parts off the sprue when these have to be painted, or they got their chrome silver. But anyway, but again, need cleaning up, and these as well. Now I was looking at these two step parts 32 and 33. there's a difference in size, so don't get them mixed up. All right. I've labeled this one 33, so I know that's 32. But again, you can see how there's all the plastic. Look at that plastic in there. It all needs to be sanded and cleaned up and look rounded. Quite a bit of work there. So I'm going to go and start tidying up all these parts now. Then I'll get them painted, and then we can start, because these are all mostly to be fitted with the radiators and the oil coolers all onto the engine. So all right, I'll be back shortly. Okay, I thought I'd just come back and show you the best way I find to take off those seam lines on these is basically use the back of your blade and just being careful, not too much pressure because these are a bit flimsy. Just roll it around over that line like that, and then basically done. Easy. Same with the other side of it. Just turn it in your hand, just being careful, don't put too much pressure. I'm pretty much just using the weight of the blade, and that's pretty much it. Not too hard. Like that. That on the other side. And that's going to look much better. There you go. Rounded. Same with these. This is a little bit more than the other one. So you've got to take off where it was connected to the sprue there carefully. Okay, just use that. So you do this. There we go. And then again, same thing. Back of the blade. Just roll it around. This is a thicker piece, so I don't have to worry about it. There's no chance it's going to snap. But you just run it up and down, and see that you can see that that's come off already. That's fine. And we'll go in that way too. Take that the excess plastic coming off there. That's it. And the same on the outside here. It's coming off. Yeah. You just slowly work your way around the piece. See it coming off there. And there you go. Now, if you want to use some sandpaper afterwards just to finish it off, that's fine, but I think it's going to come up fine without needing to do that. Yeah, see? Looking much better already. It's the detail. It's all in the detail. We'll do all the rest of these, and I'll come back when they're done. Okay, welcome back. So we've got a bit more happening here on the work area. We've got our car out. We've got our oil cooler and radiator for this particular side. I'm going to start on first. This is one of the hoses that we took off. This was the 25 millimeter ones. There's a little notch in the side there where this is going to sit, like, if I can get it in there. Went in before. It's not going to do it now. 1 second while I put my goggles on. Okay, so this is going to go like that. Okay. There it is. Right, so basically that connects into there. Okay, now the other parts it connects to, it's not going to stay there because I've got the hose on. That's going to run. I don't know where that connects, but we'll figure that out. So that's going to go onto there. There's a bracket which we've chromed up. Here's all the parts that I chromed up earlier and painted. Get them in the camera here. There they are. They're still drying, so I'm going to leave them for a bit longer. One piece connects onto the top of this and attaches into, I think it's one of these points here. Yeah, it goes onto that. And that's part of that support of the oil cooler. Then the radiator goes in in front of all of that, and it's actually supported by these pieces, all right, which thread down. There's a point in the block where this connects into the block in there, and it comes down and comes out under here and through here, and yeah, and joins into this top, the radiator there. Okay, the top of the radiator. At this point, further down the instructions, there's another snaky piece, which is this one here, which will connect into the bottom point on the radiator. Okay, so it's going to be really tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this all in time lapse, so you can watch me fumble and work on it. Whether I do both sides or one side under the time lapse, we'll see. Probably do one side, and then I'll come back and we'll discuss how it went so nicely without any problems. Okay, so this shouldn't go for too long, and let's roll the music and watch this go together. Back shortly. Hey, welcome back. So that all went on okay. Couple of little tips I can give you, and that is that the metal pieces, like these ones here, I would suggest just trimming the ends into points, just making those connection nubs on the end just a little bit smaller, so they're going to go into position a little bit easier. Okay, for that one, and also this one on the other side, because that was a little bit of fiddling around when they weren't pushing in I didn't want to put too much pressure on it. Other than that, this is all in place. It's all glued in. I would start with, it does say in the instructions to attach simultaneously, which is all of this. But if you start with the oil cooler, get it in position, and then make sure it's done by putting this bracket on. Once that bracket's on for the oil cooler, the other side of it will attach to the radiator. And then the bottom of the radiator attaches into the spot down below. It's all good. Then it sort of all lines up. The pipe underneath at the back, that's the one you need to get that in last, like I did when I turned it over, because you can fit that in there, no problem. There's enough maneuverability to put that in there. This one here's a little tricky that reaches round to the front of the engine block, and just because of the angle of it. But once you glue this part into the angle, into the block, and you've got it roughly where the top of this radiator is going to go, that it connects into, just beside the oil cooler there, then you can glue that end in, and then just simply, when you come along with your radiator, place that in, that'll sit into there, and then you do the bottom pipe last. And there we have it, it's all glued in place. Yeah, went well. So I'll be fine. I'm going to do the other side now. I'll do that all off camera and get that done. There's our parts. Now that I know to just trim up the pieces that are connecting a little bit, that's going to make it easier. Also, even on the oil cooler, was it oil cooler radiator? The radiator. Okay, these holes here, just make them a little bit bigger, and you can actually test fit them. Make sure they're going to fit in there properly, and then it'll all go together easy. All right, I'll be straight back as soon as I've done that, and we'll have a look at it. Back shortly. Okay, welcome back. So there we go. Both sides done. The other side went on a lot easier because I trimmed up those pieces a bit better. All went in fine. There is a bit of a difference between the two sides, the way the pipes are underneath. But yeah, it all come up really good. So that's it. That's it for this part. In the next video, which will be part 9, we actually move on and start working on the back here, doing the rear wing stay. I popped the instruction up there in the corner. So again, we've got, looks like some more photo etch, some brackets, and the whole support for all the supports for the rear wing. And one thing I noticed on amongst that is that there is a part of it, H22, H23. Those two parts actually are painted the blue of the car. So we may take that opportunity to get all the parts of the car body done. We'll just see how far we can go. It does look like we could probably just do those parts, because there's a whole step on just connecting the tubing, which is quite a bit. There's tubing hanging out everywhere, so a lot of that's going to get connected. And then it goes on to the seat belts, and then attaching the seat belts, and then the wheels. So obviously attaching the seat belts in the cockpit, well, that'll have to be painted. So we could put that off for a little bit longer. Anyway, you'll have to wait and see in the next video. So thank you all for watching. Please hit that thumbs up if you like the video. You're welcome to comment below. Really appreciate the comments I'm getting for this. It's really, really good. And don't forget to catch me on the live stream. I'll throw that up there every Friday Aussie time. You can check yourself what times that'll be in your part of the world, where we have a whole group of us there having a great chat in the live stream. It's really good, and talk about all sorts of stuff. Okay, and don't forget to subscribe, hit that notifications bell. That's the important part, so you get notified of when the videos come up. These are coming up every week at the moment. You also get notified of the live stream. All right, thank you all, and I'll see you all in part 9. Bye for now. Cheers.